Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a review here for Volume 2 of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and this one's subtitled Flashpoint. Now, of course, John Jackson Miller wrote all the stories in here. I don't really understand how many issues are collected. When there seems to be a divider with a cover insert in there, the issues would have to be like 30, 40 pages. I don't know. But anyway, I got a big set of, I think it's every single original trade paperback of this series. These are not epic collections or anything like that. I got this recently in the mail, and after reading Volume 1 when I went to the beach back in, I think, June or July, I did a review on that book. I loved it. I could tell immediately with how much I already love John Jackson Miller. I think his Kenobi novel is one of the best things, probably in the top 5 things ever for Star Wars materials for me. I really wanted to know what the rest of this series could be like. I tried to buy Epic Collections, like I mentioned a moment ago, and they were insanely pricey. I mean, some of the middle volumes and later volumes could go up to $100 a piece, you know? And somebody had a book lot on eBay of volume 1 through 10 from back in the day that essentially was, in total, I was the only person to bid on it, but it was only ended up being like $100 in total for the whole lot. So $10 a book for books that used to be $18 or $19 a piece, which was crazy to me. But I got a great deal. They're in wonderful condition. They look barely used, which is kind of surprising to me. But I wanted to get back to these now that I have these, kind of as an early birthday present to myself. I got a lot of really cool stuff recently. But anyway, getting back to this book, I wanted to read it over the weekend. I wanted to read all of them as much as I could, and here I am talking about Volume 2 now, after a couple of minutes of rambling through this. Knights of the Old Republic Volume 2 picks up with Zane and his buddies. Basically, they apparently, now they're like kind of doing like illegal shit. Like they're tricking other groups of people with, people who have supplies and whatever into leaving, telling them, hey, the Mandalorians are showing up, which that's cool because I love Mandalorians. And in this case, after they pull their prank and get these people to leave all their supplies and stuff behind on an emergency run, the Mandalorians actually do show up, and they're kind of headed up by a guy named Roland, who's a black Mandalorian. And he's older, he's kind of grizzly, very cowboy-like, you know. I love Roland. He's an awesome character. I'm having a hard time remembering everybody's name from this book, but that's kind of with the territory of Star Wars, with not everybody's named John or Jake or anything like that. So, it is what it is. But Roland was pretty awesome. I liked his character a lot. I hope he comes back in later volumes, hopefully. I don't know if he will, but even if there's like spin-off novels you guys know where he shows up, let me know. I want to read more about that guy. He's pretty badass. But anyway, he and the other Mandalorians think that Jarrell, whatever her name is, they think since part of the prank that they were pulling on other people, where they were stealing supplies from other people, is the idea of her being a Jedi, which she is not. She just uses Zane's yellow lightsaber. The Mandalorians immediately jump her because of the bounty on a lot of Jedi, and they kidnap her and take her back to this place where it's supposed to be like a kind of like a torture doctor, where he's trying to see what Jedi are made of, what abilities do they have, especially in times of stress. Like I said, essentially torturing these poor Jedi that they kidnap and bring to these people for bounty. And Zane obviously teams up with Roland, the rest of the team, to try to go save her. That's really the general gist of this book. Let me be honest with you. Most of this Volume 2, at least the first half of it, is it's kind of, swashbuckling space sci-fi adventure stuff in the vein of Star Wars, having a group of people going against some bad guys. That's essentially what the first half is. However, I really wanted to read more about what was going on with the Jedi Masters who had betrayed Zane, who had killed the other Padawans and planned on killing him as well, because of what they claimed in Volume 1. This is kind of a spoiler for that book if you haven't seen it, or read it, I mean. Whatever they say that they saw in the Force that could predict Zane being a part of the Sith, or starting up the Sith, something like that, they're still on their little hunt, and they're kind of tied into the events that Roland and Zane get tied into trying to save Jarrell. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. The second half of the book, though, was much more impressive to me. We actually go quite a bit into the history of, like, the lead Jedi that I was, or that we were all reading about in the Volume 1. The one with the white coat and the beard. He's kind of older, like 50, 60 years old. We follow a lot in that second part of the volume about his childhood and where he grew up and what his mom was like, which is very interesting. He tries to go home. He gets denied from going in the house just yet from the family robot. Apparently, they're very rich, which was kind of interesting. Never realized how the Old Republic Jedis and stuff could live. I mean, we know that Zane still knows who his parents are. We know that this guy still has connections to his home world and his mom. Even though the later Jedi that I'm familiar with from the era of, like, Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace and all that, you're not allowed to know anybody, essentially. You grow up being taken away from your house and put into an academy for your entire life until you become a Jedi Knight. This book did some interesting things with that lead bad guy of the Jedi. We follow some of the other Jedi characters, too. We get a little bit of history on some of them, which was interesting. I liked all of that. I'm curious what more will be done with that. And I'm such a big John Jackson Miller fanboy at this point that I'm willing to see whatever he does. That's why I bought the whole series when it was available. I'm very curious. The art is pretty good, but the stories are not so heavily adventurous and action-packed in this particular volume. Despite what Volume 1 kind of was, the art is not heavily super obsessive. You know, it's just kind of fine for what this book is. But I look forward to seeing what the other volumes are going to be like. I know Volume 3's cover looks like shit. When you see it for the video, when I review it, God willing, you'll probably see that and you'll think the same thing, because it's so basic compared to the other covers in these trade paperbacks from Dark Horse Comics that I think you'd be surprised how awful it could look. So anyway, the book itself, I liked it. Definitely not as good as Volume 1. But I hope that it spirals off into some really good stuff. It kind of reminds me when I was reading Star Wars Legacy years ago. I read Volume 1, the big omnibus of it on my Kindle, and it was phenomenal. I loved every second of it. Volume 2, really slow. Really a focus on stuff that I just could not give a shit about. I'm here for the Jedi. I'm here for the Jedi versus the Sith. I'm here for lightsaber usage, not battles where it has to be two lightsabers. But I'm usually into Star Wars to watch a lightsaber do shit, or a Jedi do shit. And when you don't have that, I know we should be here for characters and stories, but you kind of begin to lose me if the story's not amazing enough. That's kind of what this volume was like for me, but it's not a bad volume. It's good. It's building towards some things that could be done in the future, and having new characters like Roland, I really like. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Not the best book in the world, but it was good for a Volume 2. I appreciated it. I'm excited to see where it goes. Anyway, have you read Knights of the Old Republic's comic line? Do you love it? Do you hate it? This Volume 2, have you read this one? Let me know that down below too. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.